Welcome to Viata's Tiny House Village. I'm Viata. Happy Thursday, 9/25/25. Sounds like a good number to just have a discussion about the good old plantation. So, my friend, partner, LA, is going to join me, and we're going to just share some wisdom and insights on why are people choosing to stay on the plantation. Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on in. Come on in. I'm ready. I am stripped down to the bare clothing here because I'm in my tiny house and no air conditioning. It's 88 degrees outside, and I got the window open, hoping for a breeze to come in. Now, why am I in this very uncomfortable position? Because it's hot in here. I love heat though. I don't mind being in a sweaty situation with half my clothes on because it's a natural conditioned environment. And I can go right across the yard to my son's house, and it's probably 70 degrees over there. So, and I hate to be in there too long when it's that temperature. But we're talking today about the uncomfortable place called Plantation. And last night we were talking about adding love to the vegetable soup, which is the whole theme of our new book, Vegetable Soup for Women. And each Wednesday, I come together with some authors and speakers to talk about the metaphor of vegetable soup, nourishing the body, the mind, and finances. Very important that we nourish those finances because that's part of the problem in our society today. So today, my friend L.A. Valbon, aka Valbon Schorchwald, is joining me to ask the question. We're asking the question, first of all, what does the modern day plantation look like? Because last night, our friend Regina shared with us that in the public school system right now, there are children who don't live in a home. They live in their cars with their mother, or if I don't think the father is anywhere. But there are several children who are living in cars. Here comes the thunder and rain. Thank you. Living in their cars with their mother, and they don't have any way to charge up the laptops that they're given at school that they use in school. They take these tablets home, I guess, and they don't charge them up. So they have a challenge at school when they haven't charged their laptops. So that was a kind of a surprise to me because I never heard that situation. But LA and I talked this morning, and we thought, okay, this is the dilemma in our society today, that people are living in their cars, working 2 or 3 jobs. Their children can't charge their laptops. And I said, well, why don't they just go to McDonald's or some restaurant that's open and charge? I think the answer, I have to go back. She said they can't afford to go to McDonald's. It was a very sad moment to hear that. But this is a reality we live in. So the sadness went away because this is happening all over our country right now. And stuff is about to hit the fan. It is going to get worse, folks. That's why LA is here to help me share some wisdom about why is it so hard for people to leave the plantation, and what is the next step when you do decide to leave the plantation. So, Valbon, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Can you share your interpretation of modern day plantation?
Well, it depends on what point of view you want to come from.
Any point, we don't care. Just any point of view about the modern day plantation. What is it? Why are people stuck there?
Well, the plantation could be people that are on living a 9 to 5 lifestyle where they're dependent upon somebody to supply them with a job or a source of income.
In other
Along
words,
with
the master, right? The master.
yeah, master, and they get everything, all the basic sustainable living from master: job, clothes, benefits, what well
Health insurance.
yeah, and so it could be a 9 to 5 job. It could be you on the government pays, like Section 8. The government pays for a place for you to live, or at least the majority of the rent for a place to live, and then along with an EBT card or SNAP and whatever other government programs that they might have. That's another plan. It's a plantation, but it's another place or form of plantation. And then, of course, you can be a plantation owner, but that's a different story.
So our question tonight is simply why are people staying on the plantation? Now, people who are living in a house and can afford to live in a house, you probably wouldn't consider that a plantation lifestyle mentality. But then when those people have to go to work every day, 9 to 5 every day, they're sort of in a slave energy there where but you're getting paid, unlike our ancestors. Let's talk about our ancestors. Our ancestors, if you have melanin, rich melanin, many of them, not all, were living on a plantation in a wood shack maybe, and the master calls, you have to get up. The master tells you when to get up. The master tells you what you're going to eat, throws some hog maws at you, some chitlins and some pig feet, whatever the master tells you to eat, you eat, right? And then maybe some of them were growing their own food. I don't know that many plantations had the slaves growing food, but then they could have. So every plantation
Well,
was
yeah,
different.
it was those the masters. A lot of them were called, including some of the people who signed the Declaration of Independence. If you look at their occupation, many of them were planters and farmers. So uh, Master didn't grow that food; he owned the land, but it was the actual slaves that did the farming. And I had to imagine they did the farming, they did the butchering and all that, and I had to imagine, although the perception is we ate the scraps. Uh, I'm just thinking some of those slaves saved some of the best stuff. They butchered, they, they blew those vegetables and they harvested all that stuff. So Master wasn't out in those fields. He wasn't in the butchering stalls, nothing like that. So there's another side to that as well. Plus, we cooked it. We farmed it. We raised it. We cooked it. Master just ate it and sold it.
So the slave learned a lot of skills on the plantation, and not that they didn't have them when they arrived, those who were there, but they did learn some skills how to grow food more than likely. Like you say, the master wasn't growing food and plowing and picking cotton, right? So what food that the master ate was grown by the slaves, right?
Correct.
But the master determined what they were going to eat, right? unless they were picking food and eating it right out the ground, they were pretty much controlled by the master running the plantation, right?
Right.
So today we have grocery stores. Many people don't know what a sweet potato, how a sweet potato is grown and how it's dug out the dirt to eat to become a sweet potato. I was watching a young man who I follow on Facebook. Has the greenest thumb. He has about 3 or 4 children. His wife, they bought some land. They were picking sweet potatoes the other day, and they had to dig under the dirt to pull out these huge sweet potatoes because many people don't even realize that the sweet potato is a root vegetable and it grows underneath the soil. So the slaves knew how to do that type of farming, but they were limited in what they could eat and where they could live, right? People are sleeping in their cars, in the parks, in the sheds, not sheds, in tents and in storage units, but they won't leave the plantation, which is the urban area of and the matrix. So we have been talking about on this show many times how the solution is to buy land. And that is a difficult process or a difficult thing and when you're on the plantation. But what did our ancestors do once they left the plantation? LA, can you tell us what did they do when they left the plantation? What did our ancestors do? Thunder is coming.
Well,
And you're
uh,
breaking up. If you can make sure your connection is good.
yeah, I don't know. It's overcast. That's a good question. Some left by Underground Railroad, in other words, which was an elaborate network of that ran in all kind of directions. But let me put this aspect of the plantation or the matrix. That since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and just imagine this: $1. Of course, there was no such thing as a $1 as we know it in 1776. But let's say there was. You take a $1 bill, and let's say out of that you kick in, and of course, a dollar is made up of 100 pennies. All right. So everybody in the community sitting at that Declaration of Independence table says, okay, well, we kick in 1 penny each, and anything that our mutual government needs, you know, it'll be paid for out of that 1 penny each. All right. So July 4th, 1776. All right. Now it's September 2025. What has happened since 1776 in this country, July 4th, is there are anywhere between 400 to 600 government agencies that did not exist at the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Now imagine them each taking their 1 penny each to help run and operate. Now remember, $1 only has 100 pennies. It doesn't have 400 to 600 pennies. And that's why the plantation is huge today, and most people don't know how to get around it.
Good point. Because even those people who had a home at one time and their property taxes, that big Goliath came in and wanted their share of the penny, like you say, comes in and says, well, where's my property tax money? It wasn't just paying the homeowner who you bought it from anymore. It's paying the insurance company and the tax properties, and then maintaining that big house, plantation house size. Then people are now really challenged to keep just a basic 3 bedroom, 2 bath home anymore. because of all the giants coming in wanting their piece of the rock and causing people to now live in their homes. So we are just coming together today to inspire, motivate you to think outside the box, think outside the plantation, because our ancestors are calling us to do this. I truly believe that all that's happening with Trump and his administration is a sign from our ancestors that we need to make a big shift back to the land. I don't see any other solution for someone who is stuck in a storage unit because they can't afford a regular apartment or rent or even a car. I don't see any other solution for someone who's living in their car, working 3 jobs just to eat and pay and put gas in the car and put clothes on your children. What other solution? Does anybody have any other solutions other than buy some land like our ancestors did? And then find and don't go in on this by yourself. You need social capital. That means the village. Let the village gather. Gather your friends, gather your relatives, gather strangers, anybody. Talk to people, have conversations with people about, hey, let's buy some land somewhere. And that probably means outside the city, because land is expensive in Orlando, Chicago, New York, any of the Atlanta, any of these big cities. It's going to be too expensive to buy land. But if you drive even an hour away, I lived in Umatilla, Florida, which is about an hour outside of Orlando. I lived there for 5 years in my tiny house on wheels. I saved a lot of money out there because my rent was $250 to park my tiny house on wheels. And when those 5 years was up, I was blessed. I'm telling you, when you are ready to make a sacrifice and get out of the matrix, move off the plantation, the universe is going to help you with the next level of your evolution. Remember, this is about evolution. What we're suggesting today is an evolution of thought and mind. Because once I spent 5 years in a tiny house out by the cows and the horses and traveling back and forth, making money, cleaning houses and doing that, I was blessed to live in this huge ashram for 2 years. I think it was 2 years, with a king size bed, a swimming pool, access to a swimming pool, and a huge living space. Now, this happened because I met a woman whose husband had died, and she hired me to be her emotional coach after the death of her husband. And she was the administrator of this ashram. She was working with this huge ashram, Kundalini Yoga Center. And she invited me. Once a woman was pushed out of the ashram and COVID hit, but this is another blessing that came my way. COVID hit, and she invited me to come and stay in this ashram with her to maintain it until COVID was over. Well, they never opened it again throughout COVID. I stayed there in my king size bed in this luxurious bathroom, a huge sofa. I mean, I was just blessed beyond my wildest imaginations. But that came after I left the matrix, the plantation life, and went and stayed in a rural area for 5 years. I'm just a testimony that when you make the move, when you make choices that go beyond your comfort zone, you will be blessed mightily. You will have people throwing money and gifts at you like you never imagined. And then when I moved in the ashram, I only had to pay about $100 a month because I bartered with that person to help keep the place clean and do a little maintenance on the inside. And I got to swim in this saltwater pool every day. So, LA, what can we say to those people who are afraid to make that big move and get off the plantation and look for land that can be bought. What's been your experience, LA? You've bought a lot of cheap property, and how have you managed to keep that property, even though you didn't pay more than what, $200 or $300 for it?
Well, yeah, some of it. Uh,
Yeah,
well, for one, it's a lot of it. You can be a billionaire, you can't. There's so much you can't buy at all. But I had probably around about 70 acres right before the pandemic. But then, I mean, one day I bought 40 acres because it was easy to buy. But now, let me give you the reality of it. I was doing it
a
by
lot
myself.
to manage.
And
Yeah,
you can't, can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah. You can't, you can't do this. I had to let it go because I couldn't hold on to that much.
40 acres
You
is
know,
too much for one person to manage,
for
right?
one person. I would say realistically, 1 acre, and that might be too much for a lot of people because 1 acre is like the size of a football field. So I would say, like you suggested at the beginning of this, go in. Matter of fact, that's what I'm gonna have to do. uh, go invite some people in or go in with other people, but yeah. You want to. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of people. It can be 1 or 2 people, but yeah, it's don't.
You have to, everyone needs to consider, first of all, how much money can you put down by yourself? If not, how many people can you get put together to put down on any 1 to 2 I would say no more than 2 acres of land. 1 acre. What can you do with 1 acre? You can
Well, you can
park.
do a lot with.
You can
Well,
park a van
take
on that acre.
let's take a yeah, let's take a quarter acre land. That's when you can do quite a bit with a quarter acre land. You can put like tiny houses. You can put
A van,
well put you can put a van,
a tent,
tiny
several,
some
you got several tents on the one on the
tents,
quarter acre.
several tents, or you can put your first or even the tiny house you're in now. You can put a few of those on there, and then you can also have a nice sized garden or garden to feed everybody. I would say a quarter. I just saw something the other day. A quarter acre. And with military deployments, a quarter acre to an acre, you can get probably about 150. You can support 150 people, and that's a
So
lot.
so it's not that difficult to leave the plantation when you think about planning first. First, looking all we did a show here on this channel last week about how do you find land, how much it's going to cost, all that. And I even played a video of a guy who said these are the best areas to find cheap land. He names the cities on the cheapest land in the United States. So once you find the land, you find a landowner who will negotiate with you. There are a lot of landowners who will take a deposit of maybe $100, and then you pay him in installments for the price of the land. Then the next thing you do is plan what are you going to live in on that empty lot. We're talking about an empty lot, maybe has trees, and please don't have people joining you in this venture who are lazy. That's not going to work. If you have lazy people coming in, like they're going to just sit in their tent and smoke weed or whatever. No. You're going to have to develop that land. If you want the most comfort out of it, the most use out of that land, you're going to have to work the land. That's what our ancestors did. We're going back to the wisdom, the values, and the comforts that our ancestors enjoyed, which not wasn't always air conditioning and plenty of furniture and clothes. Our basic necessities are a roof over our head and food. Basic. Basic. Anything other than that, you don't have a car. My friend Tom Elamine, who we did a show with him a couple of Sundays ago, he walks around the whole planet with a backpack. That's his belongings are in a backpack. He has a tent in there. And if you go to his Facebook page, Tom Elamine, he's wearing a backpack now in Cleveland, Ohio. He's in Ohio, and he's on his way to the UK to do a retreat for breatharians and solitarians. He doesn't worry about food and water because that's not his lifestyle. But his belongings are on his back, and he has so much peace, so much peace. That's what we want for everyone listening today. And this show is dedicated to people who want to have peace in their life and stop struggling to live in the plantation, in the matrix, because that's what you're used to. And the stuff is about to hit the fan. I'm telling you, I've seen too many videos and listened to too many teachers that says it's probably going to get worse in this country before it gets better. So if you think you're in a bad situation now, you're struggling to pay your $2,000 a month rent right now, it's not going to get any better. I'm telling you, it's not going to get any better because the elites have a plan. Now, their plan, I don't believe their plan includes moving people off their land, their empty land. Bill Gates might want to buy up your land for some reason, and then they can always claim eminent domain. Is that what eminent domain is? That when they come and just tell people, well, we need this land for some other reason, and so you have to leave?
Is that that's name? What eminent is. That's the bottom line of eminent domain. The government needs it more than you do.
Right. So if you find the right piece of land, look into all the regulations, look into all that people are in the neighborhood, inspect. This is your new classroom. This is your new lesson, life lesson, finding land, getting settled on the land, get a tent or a van, build your own house then. Whatever you want, start building because it might take a while. But even and you might have to leave the colder climates because you may not want to be in a tent. But they do it in Chicago. You need to go to Chicago and find out how people live in tents in sub-zero weather. They do it. So and the whole movement of homeless people out of the cities is a wake-up call from the Creator that says it's time for my people to leave the matrix and the plantation. You don't have to live like that, but we have become too comfortable in the matrix. And we do have a couple of listeners here commenting. Moon Goddess Ambrosia says, peace and blessings. Woohoo, love that. Feeling the peace and blessings. Thank you, sister. And let's see, these are target. She has 3 bullseye targets. Boom, boom, boom. 3. That's a good number 3. Yep. This is what the conversation needs to be for people who are living in their cars and can barely have enough money to eat with. We have another move around with Deborah. Hey, Deborah. Blessings. Planning is the key to any successful venture. Absolutely. Thank you, dear. Thank you, sister. So we're here on Beata's Tiny House Village to help you plan. And I invite you to like and subscribe if you want us to help you plan. I am totally experienced in living in tiny houses from my 8x20, 160 square foot tiny house on wheels for 5 years. I had to find the land too. That was a whole nother process for me just to find the land to park my 8x20 tiny house on wheels. I looked all over Orlando and it just wasn't happening because the regulations in the LA can talk about all the regulations and rules they have in a big city that prevent you from parking your tiny house on wheels in a big city. So I was pushed out of my comfort zone to look for property where I could park my tiny house. Boom, found it in Umatilla, Florida, at about an hour outside the city. Loved it. I had horses right next to the land where I was staying and cows on the other end. And I had to walk down a little dirt road to get to the lake and meditate down there. It was amazing. It was the most wonderful transformational experience for me. So I'm so grateful. And then, as I said, because I endured that change in my lifestyle with much joy and gratitude, boom, I was sent to the ashram to sleep in a king size bed for 2 years and watch over the seawater pool. In fact, Deborah, Move Around with Deborah came to visit me, and she can tell you what a nice piece of property that was, that the Most High blessed me with, because I believe, because I made a sacrifice from my big house, the 4 bedroom, 2 bath house with my family and the swimming pool, and then going to a condominium for paying $1,000 a month for rent. I'm like, no, this is not going to work for me. And then moving into the tiny house where I paid $250 and saved a little money and had the most comfortable, loving, lovely environment. And Moon Goddess says, building with people that share the same vision. Ashe, Ashe. That is what it's all about. So this is your homework assignment. Find people that share the same vision. If you know of anyone sleeping in their cars who is stressed out about their life and they need a change, we want to suggest to you that you start building with people that share the same, having coffee with them, talking about your vision to be on some land and build your own community and get out of the matrix and off the plantation that will stress. Because you know what? The number one cause of disease is stress. And stress comes in so many forms that you hardly recognize it until you're in an emergency room with tubes going in your arms and nurses and doctors telling you, we got the solution for you. Comes in this bag, we're going to hook up to your veins, and we got plenty of pills for you. And that's what stress will initially do to you, is send you to the emergency room. If you're not knowledgeable and well read about how to take charge of your health, you'll be in the emergency room. Now, we want to say some prayers for Mama AZ. She's in the hospital even right now. Mama AZ has had a long history of struggle with her body. And so we send prayers right now to Mama AZ that she will be able to recover, heal, and be restored and strengthened even while she's in that hospital. And we give thanks for that energy that all of us send to her right now. Mama AZ, be restored, be healed, and then whatever happens to her, I'm just grateful for her friendship and her lessons, because she's been a powerful lesson of what can happen if you don't really know how to get out of the matrix and off the plantation. Okay. So thank you, Moon Goddess, and thank all of you who tuned in today. We didn't want to keep Move Around with Deborah. Thank you. Please like and subscribe, because we want to help you make this journey out of the plantation, off the matrix, out of the matrix. It needs to be done. I'm telling you, it's going to get worse. Take my word, it's going to get worse. If you are now in your car, you've been homeless and they pushed you out, now you're looking for a place, it's going to get worse. So we encourage you to start finding like-minded people to join in creating your vision and their vision for a beautiful piece of land where you can build your tent, your van, and then a house or whatever, a tiny house, whatever you need. And Move Around with Deborah said, I was just thinking about her visit here in Florida. I truly enjoyed being there on that property. Love, love, love. Yeah, and that property allowed me to invite people like Deborah and my female solution friends to enjoy that property for a few days as well. That was like a retreat for my friends in Chicago to come and stay with us near the ashram, around the ashram. And Zelda just fell in love with the trees. The whole community was just beautiful. So when you think about this, when you make that big move to get out of the matrix, to to get off the plantation, you're going to bless somebody else too. Someone else not just needs you, but is waiting for you to make that move out of the plantation so that they can follow. Just like Harriet Tubman, when she pulled that first one out, she had to go back and get some more and more and more and more. But somebody needs to have the courage to make that first move off the plantation. So, LA, you got any final words? We didn't want to stay long. We just wanted to bring this to your memory and let you know we're here to help you get off the plantation. I have a Facebook, Soul Purpose Healing. Go to there, type your request, type you need help finding solutions to any problem. We're going to help you. We're ready to help because you're the one who has to make that first move. And we're here to help you make that first move because we've been there, done that. LA, any final words?
Well, it's September 2025, almost October. So I would suggest if people want to get a head start on 2026, start planning and organizing now.
Yes, thank you. And that's when it's going to hit the fan. Next few months, 2026 might get rough too. So we encourage you. Thank you, Moon Goddess, for your prayers for Mama AZ. Keep praying for Mama AZ. And pray for all those who are just afraid to leave the plantation, like many of our ancestors were in the beginning when they were challenged to get out of that matrix plantation. They were afraid. So we pray that all that fear would go away and you would think about how many people you're going to save by making that first move off the plantation. All right. So namaste, sat nam, ashe, ashe o to all my beautiful brothers and sisters out there, and shalom. And we have one more comment. Moon Goddess, beautiful session. Thank you, sister. Beautiful energy from all of you today. Thank you so much. Let's keep it up. Let's help our home unhoused brothers and sisters get out of the plantation. No need to be living in your cars when all this land exists all over the United States of America. So everybody have a good evening. I'll be back tomorrow morning. I'm talking a lot about Tylenol and vaccines and even more. There's something else, state of mind. I've got so much glutathione, Harvard, Columbia. I got a big show planned for tomorrow full of life-giving information because we got to work for each other, save each other by sharing our knowledge and our experiences. And Moon Goddess has been a real blessing in my life, sharing her experience. So thank you, Moon Goddess, for all that you're doing in the synchronistic human family as well as in my life especially. So we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Don't miss it. Be in class. Thank you, Balban Schwartzwald, for joining me today. Everybody have a great evening.